Hey guys, how's it going? Greetings and salutations from the Great White North. No Duda Buddha Day. Today we're going to be talking about the new kid in town. Where's he at? Where's he at? Such a long list. Get into these days. There he is, way down at the bottom. Tung Ru. He is a DPS fighter. But he doesn't really act like a DPS fighter. He's more of a tank, really. His main feature, I guess, is he's the attack master. I'm not sure what's up with that, but he's the attack master. You know, how's his stats looking? He's got a really high crit power. That's all right. You know, the rest of the stats are kind of meh, you know, but he's got okay crit power, he's got okay crit, you know, but isn't exactly where he shines, but he still can do a bit of damage. He's pretty good at it, but he's also good at tanking. Down in his fates, we got Chinese Kung Fu with Shunny, Tung Fu Ru, and Xion. Shunny Boy and Xion aren't released yet, but they're both API 15 bosses, so that's one fate that's going to be a little difficult to completely activate. Kung Fu Master, we got Tung, Chin, and Saizu. Not too hard at all there. And Mate's Friendship, we got Tung, Geese, and Terry. So again, not a very hard fate there. His weapon is the Master Belt Soul. You know, he's going to use Gale badges and Thai boxing tomes. So, you know, cool, right? And we'll get into his skills here. Shoha! Shuha! I don't know how to pronounce these things. I think that's actually what he yells out when he does the moves, like Shoha! Shoha! You know, I don't know. Anyways, it strikes an entire column, just like, you know, Kula's like her sexy frost breath. Yeah. Has a 40% chance to stun the main target, and it will restore each pupil's 100 rage. 200 rage if there's only one pupil, and it will restore his own rage if there's no pupils. We'll get into the pupils in a minute. That's in his passive, where we go over that. It converts 30% of the damage that he deals to heal his own health. 100% chance to trigger this skill if Climax Super has activated. Right, so that's in his passive again. So we'll get to those. Just remember those things: Disciple, Climax, right? And then his ultimate ability here is Daigeki Ho. Daigeki Ho. I don't know. It hits all enemies. He gets all angry. He's the Master Roshi. And he causes more damage if he hits less targets, 100% extra at most, so that's like if it's one-on-one. Increases his own 25% damage and resistance rate for 2 rounds. His pupils, after he ultimates, have a 100% chance to cast their skills for this round, so he's a team player, man. And each damage he receives individually will not exceed 30% of his max HP for 2 rounds after casting his ultimate. This has Guardian Stone written all over it. You don't even need a Guardian Stone with this guy. He does it himself. He causes an extra 5% of max HP against each target after the Climax Super effect activates. Awaken to increase effects, and extra damage will not restore rage. And when we're talking about his weapon, what his weapon will give him, this 100% at most turns into 120%, and he will then also increase his own damage and resistance rate by 35% instead of 25%. So not a bad weapon. Not a bad weapon at all. It's pretty good. His Climax Super effect will only go off once each battle. When his HP is less than 50% when a round starts, it will activate. So he has to survive the round, and then at the start of the next round, it will activate if he's lived. he clears, when it activates, he clears all of his own abnormal statuses, and he restores his own 500 rage, and he goes up to 70% of his max HP. This doesn't mean he heals 70% of his max HP. It puts him just at 70% of his max HP, right? So if you're sitting there with 40% life, for whatever reason, he's only going to get a 30% heal because it takes him up to 70. It's not a full-on 70% heal, right? But then after it happens, he becomes permanently immune to abnormal status, which, you know, he basically gets immunity at that point forward. And at the start of each battle, it randomly chooses 2 fighters except himself as pupils, right? And one pupil will get an extra 20% damage, and the other will get an extra 20% resistance rate. It selects from the front row first. So if you stick him in the front row, it kind of it's a 50% chance to who's going to get that buff in the front row, right? The selected fighter will get both effects if there's only one fighter except Tung Fu. I don't know how that's going to happen, but if there's only one guy deployed with Tung Fu, they get both of those buffs, 20% damage, 20% resistance. Tung Fu gets 50 rage when his pupils are attacked, and it caps at 300 rage per round. So, you know, if you want to beat up on his little disciples there, you know, he's gonna be hitting you back with an ultimate because you're making him mad. And Tung Fu-Ru's damage will convert 20% to HP to heal the ally who has the least HP, which is kind of nice. And right here, even more Guardian effect, each damage received cannot exceed 30% of max HP for the first round he joins in the battle. And he also has one of these interfere skills. It's the attack reduction for all enemies. Starts at 10%, goes up to about 15.6% when you get it up to about, I think, level 113 right now. So, you know, when he deploys initially in the first round, you're not killing him very easily when he's only taking 30% of max HP damage. Like, goodbye Nightmare Geese if he's going to hit him. And then after the first round, probably round 2, he's going to ultimate, and then once that happens, he can't take more than 35% of his max HP for 2 rounds, right? So he is, he's got quite the kit, you know. Permanent increases on that. That's normal for an API 15. He's a DPS again, but he is also Eternal Soul, and so each attack or received attack restores 20 rage. That'll get higher. I think it goes up to like 96 when you max it. And he also has a bit of a Tiger Soul effect in him, restoring rage when others die. Overall, this guy is absolutely ridiculous. He's the creator of Hakoyokushishin. I don't know, man. I'm not going to try to say that twice. But he's the master of Geese and Terry, right? Like, pretty powerful dude to be their master. But, you know, this guy is absolutely insane. He's puking team synergy. You see what he's doing right here? He's shooting a fireball of team synergy right into your face. It's really crazy. If you go pick him up in peak battle right now, pick him first. He will win you the match more than likely. He's absolutely ridiculous. This whole pupil or disciple ability, it is absolutely fire. Like, it doesn't get much better than this for just a dude coming into your team to create team synergy. On top of that, he's crazy hard to kill. He can do damage. It's like an AoE, right? He does an AoE. We'll get into the S-Max and stuff later because I did prepare this stuff. I am prepared. I didn't just come with this. You know, I want you guys to get a full scope of what you're getting into if you're going to go pick up Tung Fu. I want Tung Fu. I can't get him. I have a plan. I wish I could get you, old man. Ji-san, I want you. I can't do it, you know. It's a sad thing for my team, and I'm definitely going to lose arena rank to this guy. We'll see how many of my rivals will pick him up, and we'll see how it goes. But I mean, this guy is absolutely amazing. You won't be disappointed by picking this guy up. If you need a tank soul, you need somebody to sit in your front row, you can use him back row. He can do some okay damage, but primarily I've seen him used front row, mainly because he has that Guardian Stone ability. I mean, as soon as you kick it up, where is it? First 2 rounds can't receive 40%. Well, Tung can't receive more than 30% the first round he comes out. So this thing already happens for him. And once his climax goes off, that just sounds a little wrong, but once he climaxes, he's immune to abnormal states as well. So he has most of a Guardian fight soul right in his character kit, and it's very, very strong. So you wouldn't want to put a Guardian fight soul on him right now. I'm not sure if these fight souls would really be appropriate for him. Maybe unyielding, but you might also find a better use for unyielding on one of your other fighters. Man, it's all the way over here. What am I doing? Here we go. For runes, I just wanted to go over. I honestly think, if you're going to run him frontline, the Heart of Thorns is going to be pretty good for him for the heals. Or you can throw an Earth's Heart on him if you need that attack reduction. But at the same time, he's normally going to ult on round 2. Like if you have priority, he's not a first turn ult guy, and all of the defensive runes are the Protector, Heart of Thorns, Earth's Heart. They're all round 1 runes. So you couple that with the fact that in the first round you can't take more than 30% damage in a single hit. You might be able to get away, with a God's Wrath, because he does have a pretty good crit. So I mean, if he crits, that's an extra percentage of HP damage. Dragon Tiger might actually work okay on him. I wouldn't go with Boiling Blood or Chaos. Like, I know he has an AoE ult, but don't do Chaos. But it's either one of these round 2 attacking runes, or if you just want him to be really tanky, go with the Earth's Heart or Heart of Thorns to allow him to heal when he gets hit, right? Because he's gonna get hit, but having a bit of healing on there is okay. So yeah, just wanted to go over the runes, but definitely I think you could get away with the round 2 Dragon Tiger or God's Wrath. I think it might work because of the way he has that 30% cap damage, right? So I wanted to also go into his gates, which obviously aren't here yet. But I just want to give you guys an idea of what's going to happen when you start unlocking his gates and how much better he will get. So let's go into it. His second gate, or his passive ability, right? I've ripped this right off of the KOF98 website, just so you know where I'm getting this from. But basically, I just want to give you guys the overview. I don't want to read this whole thing. If you want to really squint in and get close to your screen, go for it, but the main thing of his second gate is, where was it? This Climax Super. You know how it says when rounds, if he has 50% less or less HP when the round starts? The difference here is that it just happens in battle. Once he goes lower than 50% HP, he will just, he goes right back up and it activates. It doesn't have to wait, and it really reduces the chance that he's going to die on you. right? It's more like a Mei Li thing when she's about to, you know, transform, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna kill Mei Li, and then she's like, whoa, I'm at full life now, slow down, and you know, it's like, oh no, now I can't kill you because you're healed. Yeah, it does that, but it also puts him up to 80% of his max HP as well. So I mean, that's really good. And then the other thing, his disciples, you know how it was the 20% damage and 20% resistance? Well, they get 10% of the other half now, so it's 20% damage and 10% resistance, and the other one gets 20% resistance and 10% damage. And the other thing is that when Tung dies, the disciples now keep their buffs for the rest of the match. It stays permanent on them. So those are the three key features of his passive, the second gate, and in my opinion, that is an extremely valuable passive. Just the fact that it now states in battle instead of, you know, when the round starts, because there is a possibility early on. Don't get disappointed by it that Tung can die before this activates, right? So this is like a Tengu thing where, you know, his gate kind of he gains the 30% life, and you know, a couple of hits, it isn't going to instantly kill him, and it's the same thing with Tung now, where it's going to become really hard to kill him because he's also going to clear all his debuffs right away. So moving on to his fourth gate, which is his skill move, right? It doesn't do too much, but I mean, if you're on the path to S-Max, it's nice to have, because it gives you a flat-out plus 40% damage to his skill ability. It adds an additional 10% to stun instead of 40% chance, it's 50% chance to stun the main target. And it will also now give the pupils back more rage. It's on the skill it says 100 rage to each pupil and 200 rage if there's only one pupil, but then it goes up to 150 rage for each pupil and 250 rage if there's only one pupil. So, you know, him kicking off a skill move and then giving back to your guys 150 rage each is really good. And then on top of that, his skill move now converts the health into health for himself and the disciples, right? So he's going to be specifically, you know, healing them up really good. Amazing synergy team player. This guy is just so good, so good. And let's get into his S-Max, because it gets a little crazy. His 6th gate, his S-Max, and his weapon. Oh, I told you guys about the weapon already. I ruined it. God, I ruined the surprise. Okay, well, the weapon adds that 10% damage and resistance rate. I'm going to say it again. And, you know, it adds the extra 20%, you know, maximum damage depending on how many fighters are left. Not that great. But the 10% damage resistance, not bad. But the thing that his S-Max does, it now it increases his crit rate by 15%. The less people hit with his ultimate, the higher the crit, up to 30%. Disciples, they also, when he ultimates, they get the 100% skill, but now they also get an extra 20% skill damage. Like, hello, there's so many good skill moves out there that can just they can almost one-shot people already, and now, hey, here's 20% extra damage. And then the other thing is that Tung won't take more than 30% damage in a single hit after he ultimates for 2 rounds with the S-Max. So the first round ability, you know, this is the Guardian Fight Soul. Once he has S-Max, it is a permanent almost, you know, he won't take more than 30% damage in a hit throughout most of the match unless he's really gotten controlled somehow. And it's actually really hard to control him because with his climax, he can't, you know, have that crap put on him. So it's like, what are you going to do about him? But the fun thing about his S-Max. All this orange text in here is like new stuff that the S-Max does. So I'm just going to kind of sum it up that on one of his disciples' deaths, because you get two, right? When one of them dies, Tung gets 1,000 rage, dispels himself, and he changes his alt to a single target. And the single target ultimate, it can't be blocked or resisted, and it must crit. It is a guaranteed crit that can't be blocked or resisted. And it also increases his 35% damage and resistance rate for 2 rounds, along with an additional 30% critical strike rate. Yeah, like, it's really good. And then on top of that, what's it say? Resulting in 10% of the maximum health additional damage to the target. Yeah, it makes him do, on his hits, he does an extra 10% maximum health damage to the targets. After this activates, his skill move for the next couple of rounds does an extra 10% maximum damage to the target. The disciple dying and him getting all the rage back and stuff, that can only happen once per fight. Right, so if the second disciple dies, it's like, I don't really care. But he has really good gates. It takes an amazing character into the realm of amazeballs, right? He goes up a notch with all of these gates in S-Max. So, I mean, man, it is painful, absolutely painful to not be getting this guy. I am holding out for Oswald. I wish you guys luck in the draw. I hope it brings some light to how absolutely overpowered and amazing this guy is going to be. Thanks for the colas. Thank you. But he's a good fighter. You won't go wrong with him. He's crazy good. You'll love him. And really, use him front row. But if you want, like, you can't get him up to 6 stars, or maybe you just want to see how he'll do with damage, try him out on the back row. It doesn't cost anything to move the formation around, to switch your Restorics, to switch your runes and stuff. That stuff's free. We already own that stuff, and so you can switch it around and try him out and see where you like him best, because he can operate on either row. But with his kit, man, he can sit there right on the front row, and there's not much you can do about him. He's pretty hard to take down. So good luck on the draw, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.